I'm not gonna get in the way of the game because, I want to have a little back and forth with Patrick Beverly. I'm Kevin Durant. You know who I am. Y'all know who I am.
What if the greatest decision of Kevin Durant's career was also his biggest regret? Was leaving the Warriors a mistake? He had it all. The championships, finals MVPs, the legacy, even the perfect system. Why walk away from all of that? To find the truth, we're gonna have to hit the rewind button and look at what really led him to leave San Francisco. May 26, 2016. KD and the Oklahoma City Thunder will find themselves just one win away from the finals. They'd have the defending champs on the ropes. It looked like destiny was finally on their side, being up 3-1, until it wasn't. Going on to lose the next 3 games in a row, losing in a Game 7. And what would happen next would change the NBA forever. Those same Warriors were going to blow their own 3-1 lead. The collapse left them shook. They'd enter the offseason with more questions than answers. And on July 4th, 2016, those questions would be answered.
Got the news that KD was joining the Warriors. What was that group chat like?
This nigga. That's how it was, bro. It was just like
News again coming in moments ago. Kevin Durant heading to the Golden State Warriors. How are you viewing this?
Why the Golden State Warriors for you?
I just felt like the fit was perfect. I felt like the guys complimented each other, and I feel like I compliment their games as well.
With the addition of KD, the Warriors will go on to finish as the first seed, finishing with 67 wins and 15 losses. They'd make quick work of the West, not even losing a single game in the first 3 rounds to make their 3rd consecutive finals appearance. And we all know what happened next. KD wins finals MVP, putting belt to ass, gentlemen sweeping the LeBron-led Cavs, but it wouldn't stop there. In the following season, despite finishing at the 2nd seed and a James Harden masterclass in Game 7 of the conference finals, the Warriors would find themselves back in the championship round. With it being such familiar territory, the Kevin Durant-led Warriors would once again find themselves at the mountaintop, improving their performance from last year's 4-1 to 4-0 this year, sweeping the Cavs. Everything was looking up for Durant. The Warriors looked unstoppable, he looked happy, and everything was good. But just like that, it vanished. Heading into 2019, the Warriors were at the top of the world, seeking a three-peat. KD being 1 ring shy of catching LeBron, Steph Curry being 1 ring shy of surpassing LeBron. Legacies hung in the balance. However, little did they know, they'd be trouble in paradise. A month into the season, in a game versus the Clippers, Draymond would rip down a rebound with 6 seconds left, race up the court in a tie game, and turn the ball over, sending the game into overtime, all while KD's begging for the ball. And what would begin as a simple disagreement between the two quickly escalated into a heated back and forth, where Draymond would go on to say, "I was fucking passing you the ball if you would fucking run. I was gonna give your ass the ball if you weren't fucking bitching. I do this too. We don't need you. We won without you. Leave." Durant will reply with, "Alright, I know what it is. I know what I bring to this team. That's why I'm out." That same evening, the Warriors were going to lose that game in overtime. In that same season, Durant was entering the last year of his contract, and with free agency looming, it creates speculation. Will KD be returning? At that very moment, they had no idea that that was the beginning of the end. The Warriors would still go on to capture the first seed and get by the Clippers in 6 games in the first round. However, in the third quarter of Game 5 in the second round, their hopes of a three-peat would be in jeopardy. Durant will pull up for a regular midi and land awkwardly. It'd be reported that he strained his right calf and will miss the rest of the game and be ruled out for the series. Nevertheless, Steph Curry will hold it down and get them past the Rockets, while also taking care of the Blazers in 4 games, giving Durant a chance to possibly come back in the finals. And following a brutal loss in Game 3 of the finals, the Slim Reaper will prepare to make his return, and wasted no time, dropping 11 points in the first quarter of Game 5. In a flash, it was over. And at the top of the second, Durant would tear his Achilles on a drive attempt while being guarded by Ibaka. Not only did this end his season, but the thought of his career being next was possible. With the offseason here, Durant will have a lot to think about. Coming off a finals loss, is he willing to ignore the outside chatter and focus on winning another one? Or is he looking elsewhere for a place to contend? Durant will end up sitting out the entire 2019 to 2020 season due to the injury. Then came August of 2021. Durant would be the newfound member of the Brooklyn Nets, parting ways with the Warriors. And at the moment, it looked like KD had the last laugh. His absence was immediately felt, with the Warriors plummeting to the worst in the conference, finishing 15th. But that was also in addition to Klay missing the entire season due to his injury in that same series, and Curry only playing 5 games due to a hand injury. Fast forwarding to the following season, even with Klay Thompson still sidelined and Curry back to the MVP status, averaging a career high in points, the Warriors will only finish as the 8th seed in the conference. This landed them in the play-in tournament, where they faced the Lakers and the Grizzlies, ultimately falling short in both matchups. Meanwhile, on the other hand, Durant out in New York, in his first season with his new teammate Kyrie, and what would later be the addition of James Harden, the Nets climbed to the 2nd seed in the East. And as the playoffs came around, KD would be on one. The way he was playing, you wouldn't believe me if I told you he suffered an Achilles tear. Sheesh. In the second round, Kyrie will end up going down, and with a hobbled James Harden, Durant will pick up the slack and go nuclear, carrying his team to a Game 7, to where he go nuclear again, hitting clutch bucket
Rebounded by Hart, finds Durant.
after clutch bucket,
Defense by Milwaukee now. Durant fires
and with 1 second left, he do this.
Durant moving on Tucker. He turns, he shoots. Yes! With 1 second remaining. 1 second.
Yes, being inches away from a 3, his toe was on the line, and is deemed a 2-pointer. Tie game. Heading into overtime, Durant had already played every single minute of the game, and his fatigue would show, leaving every shot short, going 0 for 6, losing the game 115-111. Nevertheless, people chalked it up to a successful season. No Kyrie, basically no Harden. KD leaving the Golden State Warriors and winning on his own looked promising. Next year looked bright, but it wasn't. The Nets will fall from the 2nd seed to the 7th, but due to many reasons. Kyrie will miss a significant amount of games due to off-court drama. James Harden will basically quit on the team and request a trade mid-season, where we see him go to Philly.
James Harden wants a trade to the Philadelphia 76ers. He wants it to happen today prior to the trade deadline, but he has resisted formally requesting that trade with the Nets organization. I'm told he fears the backlash.
Basically leaving Kevin Durant by himself. However, the Warriors, with the new addition of Andrew Wiggins, the emergence of a young star, while also getting Klay back, would leap into the 3rd seed. Playoff time rolls around, the Nets draw a matchup of a motivated Boston Celtics team, seeking revenge from just last season, and will end up getting swept in the 1st round. We see Durant average his lowest field goal percentage of his career since his playoff debut series, while also averaging the most turnovers in his career. Durant looks startled. And at the same time, the Warriors will make quick work of the Nuggets in the 1st round, and just 11 games later, they'd punch their ticket to the finals. Awaiting them would be the same Boston team that took out KD in just 4 games. And after Game 1 of the finals, it looked like Curry was on the same trajectory, with Boston dominantly winning Game 1 down the stretch. But then, Curry caught fire. Over the next 3 games, Curry will go on to tie the series 2-2. And after a stinker in Game 5, getting carried by Andrew Wiggins and some really good minutes from Jordan Poole, the Warriors will win Game 5 to go up 3-2. Curry smelled blood. And when it was time to end it, he did exactly that. Curry winning his 4th championship in just 8 years ties him with LeBron for active players with the most rings. But Curry winning this ring didn't just affect him. KD's legacy was soon being questioned once again. Will he win a title without Steph and earn the respect of the people? When the Warriors won their 7th title as a franchise, the feud between KD and Charles reunited with back and forth comments. Charles would go on to say KD was basically riding a bus in his Warrior days. Fast forwarding to the next season, halfway through, KD would see his teammate Kyrie get traded to the Mavs. And just 3 days later, Durant would be on a plane of his own, heading to Phoenix, joining his 3rd team in just 7 years. Leaving the people to think, would he have ever won a ring if it wasn't for Golden State? And as of late, his stunt in Phoenix only adds fuel to the fire, going to play 8 games for the Suns that season and averaged 26 and 6 in just that short span. And as the playoffs approach, the Suns were peaking at the right time. 7-game winning streak, 7-1 over their last 8. It looked like they'll keep their momentum rolling, 4-1 the Clippers. No PG, no Kawhi for 2 games, but nonetheless, they advance. Approaching game 2 would be a tough one, going up against the MVP runner-up, Nikola Jokic, and the playoff riser, Jamal Murray. And after 4 games, it'd be a tie series. And before you knew it, they were defeated, failing to reach the conference finals once again. But just like his tenure in Brooklyn in the beginning, people chalked it up to a decent season. He only played 8 games with the team before the playoffs, a 2nd round appearance. They'd built chemistry. They'll be back, as we thought. But the real question is, will they come back stronger? With the offseason underway, the Suns knew they had to make a move, and that move would be for Bradley Beal. And the Suns fans will love it. But they had no idea this is the beginning of the end. With Beal in his debut season and KD entering his first full season, Phoenix would find themselves in the middle of the pack at the 6th seed, despite Bradley's ongoing battle with injuries. Not the worst, they clinch a playoff spot, avoiding the play-in entirely. So Mike, why say this is the beginning of the end? Because standing in their way in the first round will be my boy, Anthony Edwards. And best believe, Ant will stand on something, and it be business. Ant would finish that series averaging 31, 8, and 6 with 2 steals a game. Tuh. Yeah, that's that belt. Forget losing in 6 or even 5. This one ended in a sweep. After a long summer, a new season will be on the horizon. Phoenix looked to shake off that first round exit and bounce back. And next thing you know, they be bouncing for show and they be right out the playoffs, even missing the play-in entirely. During the season, with the trade deadline looming, the Warriors set their eyes on getting Curry some help, and Durant would be at the top of their board. But he'd ultimately decline to be traded back to the Golden State Warriors, choosing to ride it out with the Suns. Ah, what a loyal man. Bradley Beal would continue to battle injuries, but would eventually make his return, and would have the worst game of his life, shooting 0% from the field and 0% from 3. In just a 7-game span, Beal has now gone without a field goal twice. And just when things couldn't get worse, KD would suffer an ankle injury, sidelining him for the final month of the season. I think it's safe to say this season was a disaster. Now staring down the barrel of another contract year, Durant is now rumored to join another team. Looking back at how it all played out, was leaving Golden State a mistake? Me personally, I wouldn't say it was a mistake. Just a series of unfortunate events. Joining players that just got riddled with injuries, bad luck, and unfortunate circumstances.